Yo, 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 yo. It is another episode of the Weekend Rhyme. I am RKY, better known as Ron. That's Leroy Green. What's going on with you, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. What's up with you, my guy?
It's
You
all
man,
good, man. We're gonna let people come in the room, man. We sitting on a goose egg right now. Maybe they're getting the notifications. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Turn your notification icon on. Yeah, we played a little switcheroo on it. We came in earlier in the week. We coming in on a Sunday night. Normally we do the Saturday night tip, but this Ronnie Ron was on vacation this week. And you had to take the kids out of town.
like
You know,
that?
I'm trying. I've been on the couch for the last 2 weeks, and I'm trying to get out off the couch. I'm trying to get my way back into the to my
Right.
to my space, my personal space. I've been doing this for the hip hop fans, and Leroy was like, "Hey man, yo, let's just do a pod. Let's jump on this thing." So I'm doing it for my guy Leroy. I'm doing it for the people,
Appreciate that.
all the family of A2HH. That's what I'll be doing it for. Y'all got me on the couch. I'm off the couch. Went on vacation. Kids had a great time, but now we at it again, bro. We at it
Yeah.
again.
Well, family comes first, so I'm never gonna hate on the fam, man. You know what I mean? Family come first, man. But however, being someone that was from the blog era, I know how important it is for these platforms. Like right now, it's a thing, you know what I mean. But later on in history, they're gonna look back and be like, okay, the pod era was a part of hip hop. You know what I mean? Because so, I just want to take advantage of it because if I'm in it, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it, and I'm in it to like make some change happen. And I know you, Mike, is on the same page. But like I said, I'm coming from that blog era, and what emerged from the blog era is a lot of dope MCs, a lot of dope music. So these opinions do matter because a lot of the music that came out that era, it was comment sections that was artists was seeing, and they would like change their music up. So
No doubt, no doubt. And we been Pete tonight against my guys, my second team, the Atlanta Falcons versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We up against Sunday night football. So make sure you can put on your phone, put Sunday night football on mute, watch the Falcons in the background, do their thing. Let's cook up some game real quick, man. So what's the first topic you want to get into tonight, Leroy? I got, before we get into that, I want to say I was on a road trip, right? I drove 5.5 hours. Not gonna say where I went. You know what I'm saying? But I went somewhere nice with the family. And you know what? I listened a little bit of hip hop. I put the Common and Pete Rock album on. What did I put on? I put the Roots on.
yeah,
Which one? What the album? What's the album that came out back in the day with I
what's
forgot. I had a brain fart. All things fall apart.
things fall
Put that
apart. Yeah,
things fall. I wrote on things fall apart.
right.
Um, Played a little bit of college dropout on the road trip. So Common and Pete, college dropout, play B, things fall apart, just chilling. Then I
Yeah,
play like 90s on 9 on Sirius XM. I wanted to take it back to like a pop sentiment, you know what I'm saying? So the kids can listen to things that I heard. So Boys to Men and Mariah Carey. So I was just vibing out. But let's jump in the future first. Let's get in the future. Let's get in the future. What was your thoughts on future? Did you get a chance to listen to mixtape Pluto? Did you get a chance to? I couldn't play that for the kids. That was I just
right.
couldn't. I listened to it when I got back. I couldn't play that. It was just too much for them. I didn't
Right.
want them, getting that in their brain. You know what I mean? So, but I
Yeah,
did listen to it.
you know
So
what I mean?
what did you think about the future album?
So I did listen to the future albums. First, in the background, that's MC Lyte's album. It came out too. I thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna let Mike, touch on that. I may touch on it a little bit, but to go to the future thing, I did listen to the future album because I do understand the aesthetic. I understand the music. I understand the vibe. I understand the production. I'm from an era right before Future, so this is why I can't say I'm the hugest Future fan, but I understand the music. It was recorded from what I hear in Rico Wade's house, so that's the dungeon. I would have liked maybe it was a more dungeon vibe, just as far as Outcast, Goody Mob. But I will touch on that a little bit as far as musicality. Overall, I think the album's cool, right? I'm not gonna say it's whack. I'm not gonna say it's the best thing ever because I understand Future sound. I understand his music. I understand what he's about. Now, so like things like Teflon Don, Little Demon, Ski. I wasn't a fan of Pluto Ski. That may be the worst song I've ever heard. Ocean, Press the Button, Surfing a Tsunami. These are dope. Lost My Dog. That, you know, is messaging that. Only thing I would say with Future's album is I would like to see, you know, if there's some switches that could be done with the music. I think his delivery, his cadence, his way he raps, I think that could work over any type of beat. And I don't think he's tried that. Maybe someone out there could educate me on that. But I think it could work on any type of beat, and that everybody can't do that. So I would like to see maybe a change in the beats. And granted, I know people buy Future for the production as well as the bar. I understand. But a lot of the production, it could get to sound a little redundant with the trap drums being turned up so high over the other instruments. But I do think that if you give him a completely different beat in a different even genre, I think he could pull off the same vibe. So, you know.
Well, you know, we got to first define what future music is, right? You know, being from Atlanta, I grew up. Well, I didn't grow up on. I kind of came into my late, you know, into adulthood on Future's music, right? And what it is. So let's define what Future music is. So if you were to describe Atlanta, the music scene of the last 15 years,
Right,
you know, 10, 12, 13 years, it would be Future's music, right? Every nightclub you go to, it's a vibe, you know, the hookah spots, the clubs, the
right,
strip clubs. It's just it's Future's world. You know what I'm saying? Musically, you know,
right,
with Thug and others, you know, blended in with that. But it's the soundtrack to Atlanta's nightlife. As you grow older, you know, he's my age actually. As you get older, sometimes I think I've aged out of Future's music because some of the songs start to sound repetitive.
right,
It's hard to distinguish which song is which. You know, back when he came out, you know, with DS2, um, you know, DS2, those songs they had a different type of sound. He was a different type of MC because he wasn't really rhyming. He was more like what Mike always says, like a James Brown type figure, where his voice was kind of like an instrument, and he's not really rapping. He's singing, he's rapping. But as you get older, you hear these songs, stuff he did with Drake, stuff he did with Thugger. It gets a little bit repetitive, right? But it's still, and if you're not in that world anymore, if you're not out every night, you know, at the hookah spots and the strip clubs, and you're not at the club, you know, you might not be able to digest it as easily, right? You know, it's just a different type of vibe, you know, because you age out that scene. Future's music really isn't for you, but I know who it's for. It's people that enjoy those spaces. And I would, if I
right,
were to go out tonight, you know what I'm saying, take my old ass to the club, then I would enjoy it. I would vibe out it's a vibe. It's an Atlanta vibe. So,
right.
you know, to me, I can't, it's hard for me to rate this album. I mean, it's cool for what it is, but it's not for me because I think I've aged out of Future's music.
Right.
And really, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who. I guess the music's it's for the vibe scene. It's for the club scene. That's what the music's for.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you just said, but I think that Future's fan base at this moment in time is in their late 20s and 30s. So I need to understand why they are listening to this. Now, again, in the car with the heavy bass, I understand what's going on. I understand the world that Future represents. I understand the trap in Atlanta. I understand what goes on. I got people that know people. So it's like I know what goes on in Atlanta. But when I was young, even in a young, reckless me, right? We smoked weed. I mean, so I'm gonna let people's mind run with that. But we stopped there. We just smoked weed. That's the only thing we really did. Now, if you are living the generation after that is living what Future's rhymes, if 10 years later or 15 years later they're still living that lifestyle in his rhymes, I have some questions. But a song like Lost My Dog, right? How do they feel about a song like Lost My Dog? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how do you listen to a Future project and then at the end you get to Lost My Dog? And then you got to think about all the music you was just hyped to before that. You know what I mean? So I just have some questions, man, because what this music represents, it's a step above the gangster music that I was familiar with. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just the old guy in the room now too. So if that's the case, the young cats, let me know. Oh, you don't understand our generation. Maybe, but I mean, he's going crazy on this record. And like I said, his style is good. He, as an artist, I feel like he's good. But I feel like just the artists that make background music, like I'm just going to make background music and that's it. Our people in Atlanta, they're still not tired of that because y'all got a rich history of music. I don't, what's going on,
Yeah, and that's why I disagree with Charlemagne the God's assessment that there was a big four. He said it was J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, and then Future, maybe to a certain extent, but I mean, he doesn't have an album. He doesn't have songs that. Again, his songs are starting to sound, they're starting to bleed into one another, right? And somebody said in the comment, it's just if you talking about a shorty or a club situation,
right?
Future's a soundtrack. But if you're a grown man vibing out, it's just not for my aesthetic. So I'm welcome.
Even in the club, like his song Little Demon, it's a bop. It's a bop. I get it. I could move to it, right? But are you really calling your females Little Demon? Is that a real thing? Heck, help me understand. Little Demon. And then throughout the album, there's references to being demons and devil. And I ride with the devil. I'm riding with Satan. Like, this is what and I'm not exaggerating. We can go listen to the record. So, I mean, is this what we're doing? Help me understand.
Yeah, I'm not on that type of time. Again, it's 15 years in, DS2, Purple Rain, What a Time to Be Alive, Young Slime, I think what the one with Young Thugger. It's just I've heard these songs before and it's nothing new. It's not taking me to a new place. Again, my brother's my age, you know what I'm saying? And maybe right. Artists have young energy and maybe they have that cool energy that I just don't have. But I think that I think, it's just I'm just outgrown it, man. And it's not taking me to a new place. Maybe he should go back into, maybe he should go back into his older bag where he was making go back to the real joints. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he had a song that got cut called Put My Hands on You. He was not talking about physically, he was talking about, make the love joints. Maybe go back to what he did on what's that song he did with Thames? I think what's that record he just put out last year?
I mean, it's a little frustrating because I can hear that Future is highly talented and skilled. I do hear the skill level there. So I know if he wanted to pull off different things musically, I feel like he could. And that's the frustrating part about it is out of 17 tracks, you have 15 that are around the same type of vibe with someone who could probably pull off a bunch of different things musically. So that's just the frustrating part. Like, damn,
Future is in his bag when he does what's that song called? I'm trying to find it.
I've heard different songs from him, so I know he's capable. Like I know he has the skill to do different stuff.
I think it's called "I Will Wait for You." I think is that the song called?
That was a tight jam, bro. That was
when he gets into his songwriting ability like that, then I think we got something. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. And he got the melodic flow down. He could do that over a bunch of different styles. Like, bro, he could do a lot if he would just focus on maybe doing some different stuff.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. This is not for me. Let us know in the chat what you think of this album. Put like and subscribe. I'm hearing people say it's not a good project.
I mean, on Demon Time, if I'm just on Demon Time, which I'm not going to be on Demon Time, I'm just letting you know. But if I was, then this would be a dope album. You know what I mean? If I was on Demon Time, but I'm not going to be on Demon Time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, it was the song Wait for You. It was off the album I Never Liked You. It had Drake on it, had Tim's on it. That's the type of record, you know what I'm saying, that I
Yeah,
think you
that
got you
one
got to
song,
go with.
yeah, that one song had more life than this entire project. So that's a problem. And I do like the single that he gave a nod to DMX, Moving Too Fast. The single's cool. I like the single. I like the video. I like the vibe of it. I like that. You know what I'm saying? But the rest of the album, it was like demon overload. I'm like, bruh, I get it. You know you're doing your stuff, but the whole album, Demon Time, that's too much demon for me, brother. That's too much.
Yeah, and I'm a big person about speaking things into life, into existence. Man, I don't even want to speak. I ain't on. I'm on God's time, man. I don't speak on none of that demon stuff, man. That's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I get what they're saying. I get the nature of it, but I mean, I ain't.
even the nature of it too. Let's take it literal. Can you imagine? And I know there's people living the real life like Future is saying, but just picture that in your mind. An individual that's out there that's living what Future is saying. Now, if that's true, you have a recipe for disaster. Okay, like I don't know how he's doing all these drugs and still living. Like, how does your body accept all these drugs and you're still alive? I don't understand how. Like, your threshold for drugs must be the greatest, the highest ever. Because how you did all these drugs and still lived is a mystery. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's doing all these drugs. I think you're selling something you're not living. And and if that's the case, I think maybe we should pull back on some of the, all the stuff, all the content, because again, and again, if people like it, you like it. But in Atlanta, it gets real. These have real life ramifications. So it's like, I think the music should have a balance, Future. And I know you could do that. I know you could do that. And you're old enough to know how to do that. So come on.
So let me ask you a question. How long does Future have to make this type of music? If what we heard on this mixtape, just on this mixtape, because I'm not talking about him going into his bag where he's kind of more melodic and talking about the ladies and it's more, pop and that pop bag. He can do that forever. He can do that into the 50s. But how long are we going to get more mixtape Plutos? Because this has to have a shelf life. This has to have an expiration date. This sound.
Unfortunately, he could keep doing this for another 10 years or, because the reality is you're speaking about people that are going through hard times. So if that's the case, hard times are always going to exist, right? So he's saying coping with the hard times, we do drugs. That's basically what he's saying. In my hard times, I do drugs. And on the song Lost My Dog, he's basically telling you that. Like, me, my dogs, when we go through hard times, we do drugs. Now, if you're going to keep saying that, he could say that for the next whole generation. So that could be a dangerous recipe. And again, I'm not trying to police hip hop culture. I'm just literally listening to what you're saying. Like, part of my job now here is to listen to rappers. So I'm only listening to what you're saying. So what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying, Future? So the sad part is he could keep making this music and it could keep going on and on and on and on. But how many people are not going to survive that next part of his catalog? Like, a lot.
I mean, if you're the soundtrack of Atlanta, I've been out in Miami, even Orlando, any club, you know what I'm saying? Any club in the South, you're gonna hear Future's music, right? So until somebody else changes the sound of Atlanta, I mean, Future's gonna still have a viable space. There's kids they got, their grandmamas listen to Future, you know what I'm saying? And now they grandkids is out here listening. Maybe it's not that extreme, but you got a grandma
No,
daughter. It might be like that. It might be like, you know, some grandmamas listen to Future and their
yeah,
grandkids is rocking to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
they're not listening to the words. That's why they can listen to it, because they're not hearing the words. And even if they heard the words, they don't really know the slang. So they're just listening to the heavy bass, and it's the music that got them. But to come out of Atlanta though, with Outkast, with Goody Mob, with TLC, with Rico Wade, with all, I mean, Jermaine Dupri, it's a lot of range in Atlanta that you could use, man. So to just stick in this one corner, why?
it's gotta be somebody to tap in. You know what? I really want to go to the drawing board and be the change that we seek. I'm thinking about starting a little label.
I'm gonna talk about that in a
I'm
second,
talking about getting a label, get some artists, man, and try to use
bro.
this platform to promote it. You know what I'm saying? That might be the best way. If I got some dope MCs, my man John Nori. John Nori had an album coming out. John Nori, tap in with us, man. Send us your project. But we want to hear the music. It's gotta be the music. It's gotta match. Like I said, we're pushing a lot of this drug culture to kids. We're pushing a lot of this perk stuff, this Molly. That Molly stuff was like a decade ago. Now it's like some new stuff. Yo, I saw a video. Somebody sent me a video last week. They got this new drug called crank, and it's like people like zombied out in Philadelphia. There's like this place in Philadelphia. There's like this stretch of like a couple blocks, and they
Yeah.
taking like a horse, something, a horse steroids and something and fentanyl. And it's called crank, and they got them zombied out, man. But we pushing all this dope and this death, and it's like you talk about demon time and the death and decay, moral decay, and we pushing it, and it's just a lot, man. But as people that love the culture, people that love hip hop, we gotta we gotta preserve it. You know, it's a shame when you can't go on a road trip with your family and play any music. It's just
Bro,
crazy.
A&Rs, any A&Rs that are out there, like I know 100 artists, like a lot of them that are all crazy dope that can make all different type of music. A&Rs, like tap in, like so we can in any city that you're in. I know an artist there, so we can make that happen. Like, but the frequency of the music, it either has to have a balance or it's got to kind of change, because the whole thing with our culture is we live the music. We don't just bop to it. As far as the 20-year-olds go, the people in their 20s, they live it. So what are you going to set up for them to live? Like, if you know that they live the music, then we're going to have to set up the music to help them live. And that's why I'm going to talk about new archetypes. I made a whole concept just in my mind about a blue collar worker MC. I get 10 songs. I made a whole concept that anybody can take from me and use, right? So, but I'm going to get into that in a little bit whenever you're ready.
Right, but I did see my man Diego 96. And Diego, shout out to Diego. You sent me some clips, man. I saw them clips, man. They were really kind of mind-boggling, man, and kind of deep. I'm still trying to unpack it. I didn't want to kind of get into it when I was on vacation, but I'm gonna unpack it this week, man. But appreciate you sending me that. If you got any more things you want to share, please email. You got my email. I appreciate it. And the suggestions about having those folks on the show, we're gonna try to sync that up in the coming days. But I saw a clip earlier about Ice Cube sitting down with Bill Maher. I don't know if you saw this, Leroy, and they were talking about how, you know, it was somebody what Diego alluded to in the chat is that rap, hip hop music was used as a weapon to indoctrinate mass amounts of people, the youth, especially Black and Latino youth. Let's just say Black youth, right? Specifically, to indoctrinate them with and embed them with negative imagery. And it was a psyop in a sense, right? That they used to kind of weaponize the music against our community. And I've heard that for several years, but it was interesting to see Ice Cube speak to that on Bill Maher's show, and it doesn't come as a surprise to me, because as you see, the record labels put out a lot of negative imagery, right? It was about, you know, gin and juice. It was about smoking weed. It was about B's and H's or W's, how you want to spell it. It wasn't about building family. So you had other groups, like you had you had the X Clan, you had Brand Nubian, you had even the Wu-Tang, you know, even though they had some drug references in their records, they had some knowledge, you know, it was in the 5% of knowledge. You had Common, you had some Roscos dropping some jewels. You had people dropping jewels in their records, you know what I'm saying? You had Arrested Development, you had Outkast and Goody sometimes dropping some seeds. So it wasn't all negative, but it was a push, you know, when NWA came out, After Police, and Dope Man, and
right.
a lot of negative imagery put out. You know, and they try to romanticize it now because, like, you know, Ice-T is talking about the original gangster. He was just talking about what was going on in South Central Los Angeles, which I get that, right? Every artist needs to have a perspective, but you know, I always ask Mike sometimes, you know, even I love 666. I love Project Pat. I love Juicy J. Shout out to Juicy J. Trying to get an interview with Project Pat and Juicy J. So it's not a knock on 3-6, but even the name 3-6, right? And some of the records that they put out back in the day. And I asked Mike, I said, man, how many people you think got killed off these records? Like you get in your they got in their car, they loaded up the clip, they put the record on, they zoned out smoking, they see the op.
Yeah.
Somebody lost their life. I wonder how many people lost their lives off of hip hop. I wonder if there's a way to quantify that. And how many people got locked up over hip hop? How many people died over hip hop? And it probably might be a staggering number.
I think generations were lost, right? So this is why I'm saying, like, and I don't want to go down that road because I'm gonna keep it real with you. Again, I don't know how to lie. Lying is not a part of what I do. So if you ask me a serious question like that, I think we probably lost generations. And this is why, you know, I got someone like MC Lyte behind me for the females to listen to her new album so we could create blueprints for people to survive and thrive, you know. But again, I can't even blame like the 20-something-year-olds with young record deals in the 90s rapping about gangsta activity, because I would be blaming young people, right? And even if they knew the difference between right and wrong, the labels are putting out what is the most entertaining, what gets the most plays, what gets the most money. And if they are finding out that the one style of if an action movie makes more than a documentary, then the movie companies are going to put out more action movies. So if the gangster music is making more than the conscious music, then the record labels are going to do what they do, right? But the only difference is back then, even the gangster music had a balance to it. You know, they weren't just going crazy for the entirety of the whole record. They had other things on there as well. So that you know, I do think both are right. Like, something was the innocence of hip hop and the ignorance of hip hop, meaning not knowing the full game. And then some was controlled. Yes. Private prisons. Yes. If people are seeing that they could get more of us kind of jammed up through the soundtrack, then yes, because again, these people they're not your friends. They're actually the opposite. They're just here to make the money. But now we don't have the excuse because everybody outside, you got the internet. If you want to do your own thing without cooperating with any entity, you could do that. You could do your own thing, and when you could be your own boss. So now you don't have the excuse of, well, I needed to sign the record deal. Like, you don't have to do that now. You know what I mean? So it is time for evolution, but you know, that's why I just try to create the balance. You know what I mean? Well, today we're going to talk about Blue, Alchemist, a little bit of MC Lyte. We're going to talk about, you know, working class MCs. So there are different avenues that an artist can take. And when all else fails, you could rap about your real life. You know, I know everyone puts on the Scarface archetype, and that's cool. I don't mean the rapper Scarface. I mean the movie guy Scarface. And that's cool, but when all else fails, rap about your real life, because that's what's going to connect.
Interesting take. I still want to do that poll. I know it's a morbid poll, but I want to know how many lives have we lost off of rap music?
It's an incredible number, man, because And again, you know, I will give some credence to people's personal choices, but however, like I started listening to rap when I was like, you know, 10, 11. So how responsible am I at that time? And then I'm going through high school, I'm listening to it, I'm going through college, listening to it, I'm going through my young adulthood. This is a generation's worth of time of like gangsta music that's circling my head at all times. So when I come in when I have a conflict, how do you think it's going to get handled? You think I'm gonna have a constructive conversation? Hey, brother, I feel disrespected. Can we talk about this situation? That's not, you know, I'm gonna let the music take over how I respond to the situation. Now, I did have some other things going on that kind of kept me out of harm's way. I did martial arts as a kid. I was around adults. It taught me conflict resolution without hurting the other person, right? I had other people that I knew that were in the NOI. Shout out to the NOI in Oakland. Shout out to different groups that I knew, positive people that was like, nah, this ain't the route to go. So I had sort of a little bit of help. I had responsible people that raised me. So, but again, not everybody is that privileged like that. You know what I mean? So they're going to react based on what they hear in the music. Oh, Leroy was a green belt. No, I went all the way to black belt, and I went there fairly fast. And I was in the same. I was if y'all heard of Ernie Reyes, the purple Ninja Turtle from the movie back in the day. He was Donatello in the costume, but that was one of my senseis. I grew up with him. So sidekicks, that show with him back in the day, that was my guy. Yeah,
So Leroy, you saying you can martial arts is for self-defense. I have my kids in martial arts as well. But you can defend yourself properly and whip some ass if you needed to, right? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, if I needed to. Now I'm a little bit older, so I am not as good as I was, years ago. Let's be clear. I'm not that, you know what I'm saying? But do I know how to not get hit? Yes. I know how to, not get hit, which you need that. You know what I'm saying? So.
No doubt. So let's get off Future. I can't recommend it. I mean, if you want to go to Atlanta, and if you want to hear what Atlanta is like, if you live in like somebody like if you live in some place like Boise, Idaho, or you live in Lincoln, Nebraska, or Norman, Oklahoma, or you live somewhere I don't know in West Virginia, and you want to know what Atlanta is like, then you put on a Future record. I'll transport you to the Atlanta nightlife. But if you or a grown man or a grown woman with some kids that live a responsible life to want to hear something cool, that might not be the music for you. So It is what it is, man. It is what it is,
man. So
all right, what you want to go to next, brother?
So Taekwondo, that's what I took. But so just briefly, I'm gonna go into MC Lyte's record. Because I know Mike wanted to touch on that, and it was a dope record. Like I said, she creates and this is more for like the females. I know a lot of the fellas are probably not going to get into that, but just for the female MCs, right? She has a song like 1 through 5. It's kind of like the 10 Crack Commandments and concept, where she's going through 5 different things to help an artist win. From a female perspective. So I encourage the ladies out there to check that out. She's still a dope MC. Songs like Life and Luxury, dope. King, dope. Lyte, Ghost, and Little Mama. Ghostface is on there. Little Mama's on there. Did their thing. Change Your Ways. Common had a dope verse on there. Woman, featuring Big Daddy Kane and Salt from Salt and Pepper. But the last song, Music Is, I ran that song back multiple times. So this week I'm talking about songs that I played a lot. The last song, I actually played that song, and I was inspired to create something myself. So I think I'm gonna start a project just to get the ball rolling, but I'll probably start around that, around where she left off, because I was inspired to do that. So it was a dope album, and like I said, if there's a legend like MC Lyte or any legend dropping a project, I'm gonna give them some spotlight, y'all, because these legends kind of paved the way, for why I'm sitting in this chair now, you know what I mean, or why we're involved in hip hop the way we are, is because the legends kind of laid the blueprint. So I got to give respect where respect is due in that regard. So like I said, the album is a positive look. MC Lyte, she always, handled her business. She never really got caught up in too much craziness. And just for the artist coming into the game, the object is to have a smooth career without having problems, because just doing the business itself is going to create a bunch of obstacles. So you don't need to add to that by doing crazy stuff. So, she talks about, not sleeping around in the game, as a females. And that's a message. She talks about having your business right, having your security on point, having your, she just talks about just handling business, do what you say you're going to do, represent a message that can be constructive. There's a lot of family message on here. Also a cheat code, you know what I mean? For people that, want to come in this game, that's a cheat code, man. You know what I mean? Stay focused, do what you do. So I like the album. Glad to see MC Lyte still, doing her thing. So, I'm gonna let Mike cook up more on that tomorrow, but she did her thing.
Yo, it's good seeing the OGs, kind of legends in the game come back and let people know where they are, in their life, in their art. God, we got some spammers in here, man. Let me put this ban as users never, whatever. Okay. You're gone, man. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. I gotta mod it myself. Where the mods at tonight? I gotta mod it myself tonight. But anyway, it's good to see the OGs and the legends kind of, come back in the game, lend their art, lend their gift to a new generation of fans, and also remind the people that came up with them they still have something to contribute to the culture that they helped build. So I always think that's always good. I didn't get a chance to digest the album. Again, we'll let Mike kind of cook up on that tomorrow and Servon. But I'm going to take a listen to it this week. And I've always appreciated Lyte as an MC. Her, I think I have a special place for her, Queen Latifah, as MCs, female MCs that had a message that was not, it wasn't raunchy. It wasn't, what I'm saying? It didn't really degrade the, women. It was a positive message, and they could spit. You know what I'm saying? Bahamadia, Lady of Rage,
yep.
Yo, even Eve to a certain extent. Eve was sexy. You know what I'm saying? She kind of, she could spit. With the Rough Riders. She had some lyrics that was kind of, provocative, but she still was a lady, and she spit with a different perspective. And even Kim. Shout out to Kim. Kim had a lot of, risque lyrics. Things that I can't repeat. I wouldn't recite as a man, you know what I mean? But she still was dope. You know what I'm saying? Kim still could spit. She's got some of the most iconic verses in hip hop, male or female. So we can't discount what Kim did. Even Foxy, Foxy to a certain extent. So, and then shout out to Charlie Baltimore was nice. Don't get a lot of props, but
But just like somebody mentioned LL Cool J, just like LL Cool J dropped a dope album, he's one of the pioneers that the young men could get into now and get a perspective. That's dope. MC Lyte just did the same thing. So both of them too dropped as pioneers in the game. They dropped dope projects this year. So you know what I mean? It was fun.
So yeah, we're gonna get into that. Shout out to MC Lyte, and we might have some news regarding. I don't want to give it away, but we may have some news regarding MC Lyte in the coming days. So y'all stay tuned. We'll let Mike and Servon speak to that. Let's go into that concept you talked about Kanye, because before you go into that.
Yeah,
Kanye West was basically, he's doing some interesting things. He's been, a lot of people in the comments are saying Kanye is washed. Oh, I'm sorry, Ye is washed. Ye is done.
I said that.
But Ye has been putting on these big mega shows overseas. He did something in South Korea a couple weeks ago. He did a show we didn't cover. He did a show in Utah about a month or two ago, and he just did one in China. And I'm looking at the articles. They say he's revived the Chinese economy by doing these shows. If you Google Kanye West in China, I think he did in Henan. Okay. You would see, like, I think it's on YouTube, the performance. It's like people going crazy. So he's still, doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Internationally, he's still doing his thing. And I can only imagine if he was doing the Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm shout out to Kanye, shout out to Ye. He's still doing this thing internationally. If you Google it, saying he's sparking the Chinese. He sparked the Chinese economy by doing this show.
I mean, to that though, I'm not gonna say other people are gonna be on Ye's level, but a lot of rappers, if you went over there to Asia, you would probably be doing arenas. Cheat code. I mean,
right, but he's filling them up, and people are acting like he's like he's falling out, passing out, like he's still on his rock star thing, and that's where I disagree with Mike a little bit. He said that who's the hip hop's biggest star. Yes, he says it's Snoop. I disagree. I don't think Snoop can go to China and do a show like that. I just don't see it. Hell,
I don't know who's the biggest star, but when we talk about Snoop Dogg, I mean, I think Snoop Dogg's going anywhere on the planet. Now we
but that's why I pushed back, and I pushed back on Mike. He didn't really. I challenged him on this. If that's the case, do you think Snoop can sell out? Maybe he could, but do you think?
Yeah.
Why hasn't he been selling out Madison Square Garden? When you look at Snoop's concerts, his shows haven't been like. And I got love for Snoop. His shows ain't been like these arenas. Let me pull up the last. The last shows that Snoop did. If
he wanted to, though, see, you have to want to too.
Why wouldn't he want to do those things?
Because Snoop is an entire empire. So every day when he wakes up to the time he goes to sleep, he's running the Snoop empire. So you have to want to go out there and do them big tours like that, because it's not like he needs them. It's not like, but I mean, they're not going to hurt. They would help. But this man, he always got something to do. You know what I mean? But if he wanted to, because you're thinking about it as just Snoop. Snoop could bring the whole West Coast, and we're all going. You know what I'm saying? If Snoop gives the call, we're all going behind Snoop Dogg. Period.
Yeah,
I'm going up behind Snoop Dogg.
I had this pulled up, man. I can't find it, but it was like he's performing at like some very small venues. And my argument to Mike was, why isn't he performing? If he had the capacity to do these larger venues, why isn't he doing it?
Because to do the larger venues takes the large promotional dollars. He has that. But you got to pay for that. And if he wants to pay for it, that's no sweat off his. He could do that. But again, that it comes with paying for that too. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, he was going to make it all back. It's not a big deal, but we're talking about Snoop Dogg. So, I mean, everyone on the planet is familiar. So,
Super. I just got a message in the chat that Snoop went on tour with the Dog Pound this summer.
Yeah,
so see. He did. I mean, but I'm just saying,
hey,
it's different type of artists, man. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is it's different type of artist, because if you say if he's the biggest star in the game, you would think he would perform at bigger venues like Santa Ana, California, the Observatory, Seattle, Washington, the Neptune Theater, Charleston, West Virginia.
Kanye's also a spectacle, so people show up to see him crash out too. They're not just showing up to hear music; they want to see him crash out. So he's a spectacle. So it's different. It's like Eminem. It's like young Eminem, meaning early 2000 Eminem. They want to see the crash out too. They don't just want to see, or early 50 Cent, or they want to see the crash out. That's why they showed up. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying, even your guy Jay-Z, he did 8 shows in a row at Barclays. To me, that speaks to there's this levels of stardom here. Like, yes, you could be a household name, but musically, are you a star like that can sell out?
Yeah,
you can go to Glastonbury. Can Snoop? I know Kanye could do that.
Jay is not operating like a star. He's operating like an artist. These are two different things. If Jay wanted to operate like a star, he could just pay to do that. He has the money to do that. The reason why he's operating like an artist instead is because he's doing performances to perform songs that aren't always stadium songs. Like, he's showing up to perform the 444 album. That's not gonna be like something that people are gonna be going crazy for. Like, these showing up to do is intimate, personal, emotional songs. So that's what an artist would do. He's been a star before, so I think he's over that. He's over being the star. But if he wanted to, I mean, it's still Jay-Z. Like, if he wanted to pull up with Beyonce, pull up with, you know, a bunch of legends, and even just by himself, he's already proven the Blueprint 3 tour was like a massive success. You know what I mean?
True. So again, I just make the argument that when we say the biggest star in hip hop, I would say it's this man on the screen right now. That's just my argument based upon.
I'm not with Kanye under no circumstance. I still like his young music, but I could never rock with him ever in life.
I mean, I feel you. I mean, it's not nothing personal. It's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because
let's go. Yeah.
You know. So
it's all right.
So, but you had a concept you wanted to get into. You wanted to talk about The Good Ass Job, right? You know, it's an album that was supposed to come after graduation, but never came to be. It was a concept that he never put out. I mean, what's your thought on that? You said you had a concept you want to kind of unpack.
Because we were talking about new kinds of rappers, right? And shout out to Kanye. If Kanye humbled himself, and I don't mean humble yourself like to me or nothing like that, but I just mean like there are other people in your circle, Pusha T, Common Sense. If you can dial it back a little bit, and maybe you don't have to be like this world dominating person, and you could just be a good person. Maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know, but the concept of a new archetype, because someone on the show last time says, well, why is everybody a drug dealer rapper? And he's not saying literally every rapper, but he is saying there is a huge overload of hustling rappers. And I get that. And gangster rappers, because these are the only two lanes. And I've heard this from young rappers that aren't from that life. And their music is super gangster. And I'm like, hold on, like, why is your music so gangster if you're not really from that life? And they're like, well, how do you expect me to make money then? If I don't make gangster music, I'm not going to be able to make money. That's the honest response. Like, but the pitfalls that come with that, they're not thinking about doing this music in other cities that they're not from, around people that are really from that life. You know what I mean? So when I talk about a new archetype, I just made a concept of a factory worker, right? Who works on the bottom floor, and the top floor is the corporate office, right? So this is a new archetype, and you artists could run with this for years. Shout out to Blue Collar, Stali's label, and she'll check it, right? A working class artist. The first song, 10 songs. The first song, you describe the new job, the job you went to school for, the job you finally got that you always wanted, the new job. You're there now, you've made it. Celebratory moment. The second song, the early morning commute. What you put on in the morning, you get up, you go through the whole process of you waking up, getting ready to go, and you go. The third song, work history. Now you go down your history of jobs that you've had and all the skills you've acquired, all the people you've met, all the experiences that you've had. That's a dope song right there. Fourth song, The Climb. And the cover could be like the Metacortex building from the Matrix, right? You could run, see how you can play into a Matrix theme too? So there are concepts within another concept. That's a 3-album trilogy. You could market yourself as a working class MC. And everybody has gone through these things. They're not going to admit it because it's not cool. But if you make it cool, it'll be cool. The fourth song, the climb up to the corporate ladder. We've all experienced that climb in some capacity, and everything that comes with it. The fifth song, the girl at work. We know we've all had a job where it was that one girl that kind of took our attention away from what we was doing. You know what I mean? But okay, Payday and The Weeknd. That's another song. Uniforms. That's a concept song, right? People that work in certain industries that wear uniforms, and people that don't wear uniforms, and then uniforms turn into ties, suits. So you're explaining how these different uniforms move through life. The People's Union, the 8th song, that is a powerful song, right? Unionizing in your field. That is a powerful song that will become an anthem for the planet. okay, you will be out of here on that song. Okay, generational wealth out of here. The ninth song, I'm the manager. This is when you become the boss, right? I'm the manager. There's a saying, let me speak to the manager. I am the manager. So the last song, my own business. This is where you leave the album off and you've left that job to start your own business, which will go into your second album. So why I'm saying this is new archetypes. Something different from the hustler, the shooter, the player, these are new archetypes. So I just wanted to put that out there. If someone takes that serious and really does that, keeping in mind that 99.9 of you live that life that I just explained, and you do. So you ain't got a front for me. Keep it real for the music's sake.
Hey, Leroy, I gotta stop you, man. I don't live that life. I'm 100% gangster, my G. You know what I'm saying? I got it locked and loaded. You know what I mean? You speak for you. I'm about that life, bro. So
Okay, we gonna make a gangster. Even with that, like there's concepts in gangster music that are not being used, and I can even go there too. But as far as the blue collar experience and working, there needs to be a lane for that someone takes serious, because the huge audience that will relate to that, people that get up and go to work every day, that is a lot of money, man. If you make good music.
Right, and that's what Kanye did when he came in the game. He spoke to that, from him working at the Gap. That's what College Dropout kind of laid that out. So I think deep down inside, Leroy, you like Kanye. You like Kanye. You got a soft spot for Kanye.
Musically, now when people said that he came in the game with that, I already listened to artists that were already talking about that. So I don't give him credit for doing that. But I know what they mean is on a mass level, he came with something different. But even when his coming with something different, he was still talking about spending boatloads of money, being rich as hell. He was still, that all was still part of it. Now Kanye's music, yes, his first 3 albums I do enjoy those albums. I am a fan of that Kanye. After that Kanye, I kind of was like cool off him. Now, granted, my gripe with Kanye is something that happened outside of music, where he started talking about slavery was a choice thing. The context of that kind of threw me off. So that I'm gonna leave it there, right? But musically, yes. I was a fan of Kanye West, and I recognize his immense talent. Yes. But I mean, as far as just a blue collar worker, I think he stepped foot in it and then quickly got out of it because it didn't make sense. He doesn't live a blue collar life, so it doesn't ring true. You know what I mean?
Right. Laura Vichai with the super chat says Snoop just got 500,000 a day for every day he was at the Olympics. Yeah, and that's dope. But I'm thinking he's more of a pop star, a pop culture phenomenon. When I talk about hip hop stars, I'm talking about people, and he's part of hip hop. Let's not take that away from Snoop. He's part of hip hop. But I'm talking about musically they can go out and do something like this. That's the contrast that I'm making. I don't see Snoop commanding, selling out full venues in Japan or China or Korea. I just don't see that happen, or Paris, or I just don't see that, I do see him as somebody that's an elder statesman of hip hop that they can put out in as a part of the culture. But I don't see him as like a star in music like that.
It's Snoop Dogg, y'all. At the end of the day, if he really wanted to push the button on superstardom, I mean, it's Snoop Dogg. He could push that button. If his new record, I'm gonna talk about Alchemist next, so everybody stay tuned. But if Snoop really wanted to push that button, if Missionary, his album with Dr. Dre comes out next week, Dr. Dre and Snoop again, he could push that button, do a world tour. But this is a man who spent the last 30-something years on tour. This is why he may not be so psyched to get out there. Like, You
Well,
know,
I'm looking at the tour. I pulled it up. So September 9th, August. Like, let's go back to last year. August 27th, 2003, the 5 Point Amphitheater. And I'm not knocking. These might be great venues. August 26th, the Concord Pavilion,
right?
the Golden One Center. I'm saying if you're a star in this music game, you're not doing venues like that. I mean, and maybe I'm off base, but you're not. Those tickets are probably like what, they're not like Barclays tickets. They're not like, you know, they're
Yeah,
not
but
like Madison Square Garden tickets. They're not like the T-Mobile Center in Vegas tickets. They're not again, I'm gonna read this to you. So if you're the biggest star in hip hop, you say the Golden One Center, the Concord Pavilion, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, the Isetta Amphitheater, the Dos Equis Pavilion. I'm just saying,
right.
I'm just saying.
But Snoop is not in a position where money is a problem. He's not making moves based upon money anymore because that's a waste of his time. The money's in the bag already. It's been there. He'll never be broke for the rest of his life. So
Yeah,
he's
ain't about the money. I'm just talking about,
not moving for money no more. He's
right.
moving on the agenda, and a lot of times the agenda is he's bringing out artists that are smaller artists than him so they can get their shine on. You know what I mean? It's like, but I mean, again, I think if he wanted to show up in whatever arena, I mean, I think he could pull that card very easily. You know what I mean?
All right.
Very easy. I mean, it's still Snoop Dogg, and again, I mean, you have to want to do that too. Like, I think the people look at rapping as like being such an ill adventure, but to be out there on the road, it's taxing on your body for real. You won't understand it until you actually do it, and then you see how taxing it is on your body, on your vocal cords. When you've been doing it for decades, it does take a toll on your body. Like, it's like you have to be an athlete to do this. You have to be physically like an athlete because the road is going to take you out. You know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. But I do like the concept that you laid out, Leroy. Hopefully somebody will. You're an artist. Maybe you'll take it up one day, or maybe somebody else will be inspired to do that, man. But I do. I wish he would revisit. I don't think he can revisit it now. I think he's so far out of that loop, from the everyday man that he can relate to that anymore. I think he's making like world music and dance music, and it's more chant based and more a lot of drums and a lot of like chants and hymns and things like that. So I don't know if he will ever revisit that early. He's far removed. I mean, he's 47 years old. He's not in that mindset to make that music anymore. He's wealthy, billionaire status. He's in a different lane. So I don't know. Shout out to Kanye West. Yay. Keep doing your thing, man. And hopefully I'll see you at another show at some point. Last time I saw Ye was at the Atlanta show, when he recorded Donda in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. And it wasn't a concert. He was just, I think he had the red on, and he was just, it was a listening experience.
And that's what's dope. If I give Kanye any credit for that, turning your album into a one-night listening event. It's not about a replay value, because that's a lot of people's argument. Does your album have replay value? Well, what if I'm not worried about replay value? Then what? Can I make a one-night experience to where I sell out this venue because you're gonna hear it live one night? Whether you play it after is your own thing. But I didn't make this project for replay value. I made it to hit one time, boom, and I'm out. I think that's a lane. Also, again, I'm just talking about new lanes. Like, we got to stop thinking in like that we're in 1998. We're not in 1998 anymore. We're just not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sunday Night Football alert: the Falcons are up 14-10 over the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Atlanta gonna win this game, y'all. I think Atlanta's gonna win this game, y'all. I think they're gonna win this game. It was a good day of football. I was on the road listening to it on the radio. I couldn't watch it, but I was able to listen to it. It's interesting to hear the radio calls as opposed to, but I digress. So we're gonna go to. I know you want to touch on Blue a little bit. You want to talk about the Alchemist. Where you want to go next, Leroy?
I'll go with Blue first and save Alchemist for last, if that's fine with the chat. We know Alchemist, that's our guy. And I on Alchemist album, real quick, the song Details, I played that song like 100 times in a row. I played that song out. Okay, but I'll go to Blue real quick because I'm a huge fan of Blue, right? So I got to do one, and he, in my mind, that's a West Coast legend, and to me, right? Blue is Blue in Exile, but Blue specifically is a West Coast legend to me. So his album, Love the Ominous World, dope album. When it first starts off, I think it could with Georgia Mudrow, love her, but I think it could have started off a little bit harder, a little better, because I understand what they were doing. I'm from California. When you think of California, it's not just the G-Funk, but it's also beach culture. People in California, we have a lot of barbecues, and we go to a lot of beaches, and we chill. That's the sound that you're hearing with the first song. But I think the second song should have started the album, Undisputed. That was a fire song. The third song with Fashion, there's a beat switch. That beat switch into the second part with Fashion, I think that should have been the whole song. That was fire. Now after that, all good times from there. That's the Alchemist. Go to the. You got the cover for the Blue album?
I thought I did, man. It didn't load up. My bad.
It's all good. It's called Love the Ominous World, right? Love the Ominous World. So the fourth song, The Homies, that was a dope record. Homies, bro. That was fire. Gold. It's a perfect. The song after that, the sixth song, it's a perspective story. He's wearing the gold chain. He sees someone roll up on him that he believes to be a fan. Then it wraps from the fan's perspective. The person was actually trying to jack him, but the bullets, there was something. His gun wasn't working like it needed to be working, so he just waved the peace sign. That was a crazy song. Chucks with Crooked Eye and Corrupts being corrupt. You know what I'm saying? So all the classic. I know the last album he was on, which I forget, people were like, he's not rapping hard enough. Corrupts back being corrupt. Okay, after Crooked Eye. The song Suge, Blue almost signed to Death Row. I don't know if people know that, but the story behind that is dope. And Blue's one of the best rappers from California in this era. Ominous World sounds like the LA riots. Dope. Precipitation, that I believe is like one of the classic sounds that could have been on Below the Heavens. Precipitation is super dope, just like Homies. The Homies. Them two records are incredible. Valley of the Kings, he spit his XXL verse at the end, which was dope. Love is Blue, the single, was also dope. So I'm not gonna come on here and act like it's his best project or album of the year. He's put out 4 albums this year. So whatever is sparking Blue to attack the way he's attacking, I appreciate that, and I hope he keeps going because he is attacking with everything, and I like that energy. So keep that going, Blue. Blue, to me, you're one of the greatest West Coast artists that we've had, and a legend to me. I thought the album was dope, so Love the Ominous World, fire album.
Hey, that was a good breakdown, and we need to reach out to Blue, Leroy. Why don't you do that? Reach out to Blue, see if we can get him on for an interview. More people need to hear him speak about his music, and try to get him on tap with the platform.
I mean, I probably could get that. Well, I'm gonna try. He's just a very humble person, So and humility is great. But after you hear me blowing up the spot about Blue, and then you meet like a humble guy, he's just gonna be like, okay. He's gonna be like, yeah, that's what's up. Like that's basically what he's gonna say. It's like, yeah, that's what's up, because he's just a humble dude. But I'm saying he needs to know there are a lot of MCs that grew up on his music that really appreciates what he does. He has like a jazz aesthetic, a soulful. When we talk about soul music, like that Kanye soul music, it's not the same, but the soul is there. And it's like, come on, that soul music, that's what Blue is. And I need him to understand we appreciate it. He's a super humble guy. I will shoot the kite out to try to get him on the platform, man. Because if we got Blue on here for me, That would be legendary. You know what I mean? I got a chance to meet him once, but I'm gonna see what happens. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Yo, and Poets and Rhymers, shout out. Thank you for tapping in with us. I wanna hear that story. I'm gonna put the link out in a minute. She says the Alchemist called her broke one time on X. I want to hear that story. I want to understand why he came at you like that. You've been one of our day ones. You tap with us from time to time, and we appreciate your support. So I want to get into that. So let's get into Alchemist before we open up the phone lines real quick. So talk about the Alchemist album and your thoughts on that.
Alchemist, the bad guy. He's not the good guy. He's the bad guy. And every now and then you need a villain, right? You need a bad guy. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad guy in real life, but I'm just saying the approach to his music. He's the bad guy, right? The villain. So the album starts off. I thought the start was cool, right? Schoolboy Q, I think Schoolboy Q can be kind of hit and miss. And I say that respectfully because with Schoolboy Q's music, I found it to be like hit and miss. Sometimes I'm really with it. Sometimes I think it's cool. I don't think it's whack, but sometimes I think it's cool. So that song was cool. Something Lyte was dope, right? We get into the dopeness right there. Classic Alchemist sound. What Alchemist does production wise, it just hits the air a certain way. Minnesota Fats with Action Bronson. This is where the bad guy music comes alive. I love the beat. I love the just being a total asshole on the track. You know what I mean? Just being a straight up villain, but it's not in the same way as what we were talking about Future. What I mean by what they're doing is Alchemist is making jokes. Like he's making distasteful jokes, not in the way of an Eminem, but in a more like sarcastic, more bad guy kind of way, but not in a Future way. Like he's really going to do something, but he's just like, it's humor to his lines, but a dark humor, if that makes sense. So Minnesota Fats, fire. Scientology with Havoc, fire. There's another song after that. It loses me right now, but I thought that song was cool. But the song that I really love with Larry June, Details, this beat, Lord have mercy. I ran this song back, like I said, like a bunch of times. Super dope beat. I'm going to go listen to that song again and again later on tonight. That is my song for this weekend. So Details, that was super dope. And the last song, the way he closed it out too, I think he's a dope MC too. Like I think his delivery, I think his cadence is original to him. I think it's specific to him. I think how he raps, it reminds me of old school underground hip hop, where on the West Coast, like kind of like you remember how D12 would make a lot of distasteful jokes in their music. Well, back in the day on the West Coast, it was kind of like that. Now it wasn't as exaggerated, but what Alchemist does, it used to be like a classic thing back in early 90s underground hip hop. So he just reminds me of that. So dope album with Alchemist as well. So I got two West Coast legends this weekend, Blue and Alchemist, which I was very happy with. So salute to them.
The West Coast doing their thing. Shout out to Alchemist, man. I need to tap into the album again. I was with the kiddos this weekend, so I was not able to dig into my bag like that. Again, we listened to the soundtrack of our vacation was the Auditorium Volume 1, Pete Rock and Common, and it was also Things Fall Apart by The Roots, and we listened to B by Common again. So that was the music for the kiddos. I put that on for them to kind of vibe out to, you know what I'm saying, so they can kind of understand it.
Yeah. Oh, not to cut you, I'm just real quick. It's important that we make music for certain occasions. Common and Pete Rock's album is for going on vacation. That's the reason the album exists. Now, I'm saying, in my opinion, I don't know Common like that or Pete Rock like that, so they didn't tell me this personally. I'm saying my ears sounds like that album is something you go on vacation to. We need those type of albums as well. But go ahead, Ron. That's important. You know what I mean? That the intention is understood. You know what I mean?
Man, this dude just threw an interception. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
Sports break.
Yeah,
Falcons just threw an interception. But
oh
yeah,
shit,
man. I had a thought and I lost it. What
my
was my
bad.
thought? No, it's okay. Oh, it was a thought I had, but
Yeah,
so we
you were.
touched on Alchemist. I mean, let me drop the link. Let me drop the link. I think we touched on Alchemist. We touched on Blue, MC Light. I think we touched on all our main points. Good ass job. Let me drop the link. So if you do want to chime in, if you want to chime in tonight, talk to me and Leroy about some things before we
Yeah,
get
like
the
you
halftime.
was talking about. You went on vacation. You played Common, the album and Pete Rock. You played B, and you played Things Fall Apart while you was on the vacation. That's where you was going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I was with, man. Because I just wanted to, I want my kids to understand the importance of hip hop. I can't play, some of the records I can't, you can't you can't explain.
right,
I just want to make sure I give them something they can digest,
right.
and as they get older, they can discover, music. I think my son, he doesn't know what it means, but he heard the beat. He heard me playing a millie one day, and he's like
Okay.
5 years old. He's like a millie. So he does this little dance. You know what I'm saying? He don't know what Lil Wayne is talking about, but he likes, the millie that captivates. It's like one of his
Right,
favorite songs. He hears me play. What else does he like? Just a
right.
millie. He likes a millie. He likes all the Wayne stuff that I play. And I play like the edited versions, right? It's like 6'7". Those records make him dance. He's like 5 years old, but he loves like stuff like that. But
Yeah, man. No, it's important. The music you give them, that's important. Now they're gonna listen to everything. Just to let you know, Ron. They're when they get their own phones, they're going to listen to everything. But it's important that you tell them, look, this is the music that I think is constructive. Now I know you're gonna listen to everything as soon as you leave the house, but I
you know,
got to
I
get
was I used to
constructive.
be so embarrassed, man, when I was a kid, when I was younger. My mom, she loved all types of hip hop music. She grew up. She was born in New York. She was born in the Bronx, but
Fire.
she came up on hip hop. But as she got older, her favorite song was "Back That Thing Up." And she used to do her little mom dance. I was like, "Oh my god, mom!" so this is so embarrassed. She's like, I was like, "This is so embarrassing," but she's
Right.
like, this song. All women like that. Every woman, no matter how ratchet or non-ratchet they are, if you drop "I Want to Rock On" by Luke, it's going down. I've seen the most business savvy woman, classy woman. You play "I Want to Rock" or you know,
Classic,
Scarred by Luke, they gon' they
classic records, man.
it's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be what it is, man. It's gonna be what it is. I've seen it. And
Yeah,
she prim and proper with glasses on. She's got her business suit on. I wanna
right.
rock, I wanna rock, I wanna rock. Boom. That drop.
That's
So
such a cheat code. Like just for artists, making music geared towards females. Now, again, you don't have to do this your whole album. If you got 10 songs, you got enough room for a couple of them to be towards women. But that's such a cheat code. Like, I don't know why I'm not hearing more records meant to get a female. Like, that is the perfect layup. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? That's a layup. So I don't know. My
hey
opinion.
man, let's add Mad Max to the building. What's good, brother? What's on your mind tonight, man?
Man, Max was
Ron,
good.
you gonna have to stop disrespecting Snoop Dogg, son. Stop it.
No disrespect, my G. No disrespect. I'm saying, let me ask you a question, man, Max. You're very you tapped into the culture, right? So you say I'm a big star, right? I'm the biggest star in the world in a certain genre. Am I performing at
hmm
the Dos Equis Pavilion or the Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater?
But
And answer me that.
Snoop's name is bigger than him as a rapper, though.
But I'm talking about obviously that's where we have to make the distinction. I'm talking about music. I ain't talking about the other things that I'm talking about
But
just your music.
but I also don't think Kanye West is that big of a star. Kanye has a lot of controversial things that go along with his stardom. So we talking about a guy who makes idiotic comments all the time, right?
Right.
And that boosts his stardom. Like Snoop Dogg doesn't make those type of comments. I'm pretty sure if Snoop Dogg was to make those type of comments, he go make these type of venues and stuff like that and all that crazy stuff. The fact that he was the mascot pretty much for the Olympics, that says a lot because they were never going to pick Kanye for that. respectfully.
I don't think he would have accepted that though. That's the thing. I don't think Jay would have accepted that. I don't think. I
I
don't think.
think Jay Z would. I think Jay Z would. I think
No,
even Nas would. I just think
no.
that Kanye West, they never was gonna give Kanye West the Olympic mascot. You be the face of our Olympic thing this year. They was never gonna do that for him because Kanye West is not really. He's a cult megastar. He's not like
It's a live card. It could go bad. If you pick Kanye for the Olympics, he could say something that's crazy. But I think the Olympics is a good look. I don't know if it's a smart idea for any rappers to turn that.
Is it a good look? Did y'all see the opening ceremony and how crazy that opening ceremony was, and how crazy the closing ceremony, the messaging that was in it, the messages that was in it, the
well, I'm not
subliminals
going
that
to
was in it?
defend none of those messaging
Is
because
that
I'm
a
not a
good? Is that
fan of
really a
that.
good
But
look?
I mean,
I
we
mean,
need
I'm not a fan of that either. But I'm
to
just saying, I'm just I'm just saying, like Kanye, he was never gonna get offered that. I just don't believe he would. I think they would have offered Jay. I think they would have offered. There's a couple rappers they would have offered this, but they're not gonna offer that to Kanye West
Nah,
because
Kanye.
Kanye West, if you want to be for real, he's not even from an era that's respected in hip hop. The last respected era in hip hop is the '90s. Nobody cares past really the '90s, maybe the early 2000s. That's it. That's about it. They don't care about the mid 2000s on. Nobody from the mid 2000s on is that legendary for real, for real. They have their legends, but they're not like that. They're not iconic like that.
I would argue you can make an argument. You can make an argument that 50 Cent is a legendary figure in the game. You can make
that's
that
50
argument.
50 Cent is like late 90s, early
early
2000s. So
2000s.
You could say that the man formerly known as Kanye West, Ye, is a legendary figure in the game. I mean, it just is what it is, Mad Max. You
no,
can you
he's legendary, but he's not legendary in hip hop circles like the dudes from the 90s. Kanye West can't stand next to Tupac. Respectfully,
But
he just can't.
Kanye West would be like one if we're gonna if we're gonna give him that pass. He's like one. Maybe you could throw in, you know, Cam in the Dipset. But
I mean, Cam is not.
there's only a few guys you're going to be able to throw in. I mean, you could throw in Wayne, but I think what Mad Max is saying, just like in after the mid 2000s, it's not like you could ring off a bunch of names and they're all legends. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying?
And even if you talk about a Kanye and a Wayne, understand. Look at all right. Let's take Little Wayne for example. He's quote unquote iconic up until it was the real iconic dude and Jay Z who had to pick who's going to perform at the Super Bowl. Then he wasn't that iconic no more. That's just
Yeah.
the fact.
You know,
Dudes,
then
these dudes.
yeah.
Oh, my fault, Leroy. These dudes, they are not on the level of the '90s rappers. This is just facts. They're not really on that level because it doesn't matter how many times they want to slight a Nas or, disrespect this rapper from the '90s or put a newer person over a dude from the '90s. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they sell you through the '90s. When Ebro wanted people to listen to Doechie's album, he said, if you're a '90s hip hop fan, you want that '90s hip hop back, go listen to Doechii. They promote everything through a '90s lens, which means that the rappers from the '90s are the most iconic. That's
Yeah.
just the fact.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that fact. I think physical copies have a lot to do with you being iconic. When I went, I had to wait to go get your album on a Tuesday. I could physically hold your album in my hand. That's a lot. With the 2000s, the early 2000s, like 50 comes in at the same time the internet becomes popular. So 50 musically is a legend. I'm not going to take away his skills, but the timing of the internet coming at the same time Get Rich or Die Trying is coming. The internet is popular. The internet was already here by the 2001 and all that, but it becomes popular right before Get Rich or Die Trying. So that is a huge plus. But I think the '90s is when hip hop becomes like a young adult, or like, so obviously that's the iconic era. to me. Now, some people think the 80s, which I don't have a problem with. I think that's when hip hop is a child in the 80s. Then in the 90s, it becomes a teenager. Then in the 2000s, hip hop becomes a 20-year-old. So the older hip hop got, people started to tune out. They grew out of it. You know what I mean? So
I want to
I,
say
th-
something
I
real
think
quick. Real quick, Mad Mac. No, go ahead, Mad Mac. Because I want to make a larger point. So go ahead and make your point real quick.
because I was gonna say I think hip hop's like the golden era is like 87, somewhere around 87, 86, 87, up until 2003. And it peaked like the best years of hip hop was like 94, 95, 96. That's like the ultimate peak. And then 87 to '03 is like the golden run per se. That's what I was gonna say, but you can go ahead, Ron.
No, I was going to say because we are a hip hop platform, so we speak about hip hop specifically on According to Hip Hop. But we talk about the decline in the golden era of hip hop. The hip hop golden era was the '90s, and there's been a precipitous decline in the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, and hell, we're going to be in the 2030s soon. But when I was with my family listening to the '90s on 9 on Sirius XM radio. I think across the board, music is different. I think the internet changed songwriting for better or for worse, right? So
For
today,
worse. For worse.
you don't have a group like Nirvana. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking it out of hip hop. You don't have an Alanis Morissette. You don't have a Fiona Apple. You don't have a Soundgarden or a Rage Against the Machine. That
right.
energy that created that music doesn't exist. And I think the internet and social media kill that energy. These kids are not making that music, and then maybe I'm out of the loop because I'm old, and maybe they are making that type of music. But
They're not.
I don't hear any Nirvanas out. I don't hear any Smashing Pumpkins out. So
Well,
you
well,
Yeah.
know,
the problem with the internet thing is the internet sells to kids, and when I say it sells to kids, I mean like 5 year olds, like 10 year olds, and things of that. Like, no, I'm being serious. When you look at like I'm gonna keep it to hip hop, right? But even you could go outside of hip hop. Like a lot of these artists, their songs, they're for like 12 year olds. They're not really um like for example, right? As when I was like 15 or 14, I would listen to like an old 90s song. Them like let's say even a Prodigy or whatever. He was saying things, and I know Prodigy was young at the time in like 95, but he was saying things as a young dude, but it sounded like ahead of his years, even though it was street stuff. But when he would talk about conspiracy theories every
Yes.
now and again and things of that nature, or when you listen to a Pac, right? That's one of the things when I was a little kid, when I was like 14, I got into Pac. That was my favorite rapper. He was the rapper that made me love hip hop for real.
Well,
When I would listen to certain Pac songs, and I didn't know like, oh, this dude was like 21 making the song. He sounded 30, 40, like
right.
35. Even
I
even even as a like a Biggie at certain points, even though he was like a sadist, no disrespect, even he had like a perspective that was definitely more mature than a lot of the rappers today. A lot of the artists today, they just make kid music. They just sound immature.
I mean, I don't want to close the door on this generation though. How if they're in their 20s or whatever, only because like after in the mid 2000s, people switched over to listening to blogs. So dope MCs was actually still there. It's just that they wasn't presented to you on a mainstream stage anymore. But Sky Zoo was there, Blue was there. You know, there was a lot of cats that was still there. This is where the Wale come from, Nipsey Hussle, Fashawn, Big Sean, Freddie Gibbs. This is where all Mickey Facts. They're all in that that time period. So it was dope artists that was still there. You
But to
know,
see Leroy, you see the problem with like the artists, some of the artists you're naming.
yeah.
Like Mickey Fax, he has a nice pen and he has good content. I just don't think he has great talent. Like he doesn't have a great voice to me, and I
Okay.
don't really prefer his beats. Big Sean to me was childish early, and that's why I like Big Sean in eighth grade. Big Sean came out when I was like in 8th grade, 9th grade,
Yeah,
or 7th grade or something. No, it was like 7th grade.
I
He
mean,
came out, Nicki too. Like a lot of them, it's like they're like kid. I call them kid bop rappers.
I mean,
That whole era, the 2010s.
shout out to the homies, Mickey Fax. Chilla Jones just won a battle. He's also in the King of the Dot or whatever. I don't
Chilla Jones is
suggest
nice.
any. I don't suggest any rapper test Mickey Fax. Anybody,
No,
but
Mickey got a good pen. He got a good pen.
but musically too, though he has material like the Mickey Mouse Project. It got shut down for being too intelligent, in my understanding. Now, before Mickey, I have been in labels where artists were shut down for being too intelligent. So if that happened in his case, I can't rule it out. The music they were making was too intelligent to promote to the masses, and I can and I there's music to this day that I believe if I played it for you right now, like he got a song where he's describing drawing people's faces on the subway. You know the guy that draws people on the subway?
Yeah,
But
yeah, I know what you're talking
it's
about.
it's so vivid that the detail in which he's describing the images and his reflection in the mirror, and he makes another painting for a guy who wants a picture of Scarface with a diamond collar around a tiger. The descriptive nature in which he's describing, I have never heard nothing like that in my life. And if you go back and listen to the Mickey Mouse Project and listen to how he's describing an artist, this is something that is, in my mind, one of the greatest descriptive pens and storytellers that I've ever heard. But if anybody wants to think they want to battle him or something like that, I would be very careful playing with Mickey Fax.
No, I hear you. It's just that Mickey's not. To me, you need to be entertaining and intelligent. I just don't favor the brother's
you,
voice. I like
you,
his pen.
also,
I
you
watch his
also,
battles and all that, but
yeah,
and
you
I've heard a couple of songs, but
of money. Like you need a truckload of money. I mean
no,
that is what it is. If you don't have that, the impact you're going to make is not going to be the same as these other people with boatloads of money. That because
no,
there's some labels. When you're independent and you're competing with someone who's moving with a multi-million-dollar company, it's not going to be the same impact.
no, I
You
hear
know?
you. I hear you. It's just that for me, I don't favor the brother's voice, so that's
I got
my
you.
gripe with him.
I got
But
you.
I hear everything you saying. It's just that I just had to challenge that point about Kanye, and I have to because Ron, I don't know what you said on that episode when I told you I got Talib top 25. You're gonna have to put some respect on Talib's name. Talib is
Well,
nice.
again, I feel you, Mad Max, but you ain't a top 25 MC if people are walking out of your show. I mean, I'm just being for real. I mean, people, are turning it back and getting on their phone
Are
while you
they
rapping.
are they walking out of his show because of the songs, or are they walking out of the show because he's an asshole? Because Talib is an asshole.
I mean,
Respectfully.
he was rapping. He was doing. I don't know what record he was doing. I think he was doing something from. I don't know. He was doing his record. The song that Ye did. Get by. You know what I'm saying?
But you
And
got to know his records because people will make the same argument that has just been made, about Mickey. Will make it about Talib. They'll be like, Talib's not that nice. But if you haven't heard his music, then it's like you're talking without listening, and it's like that's what a lot of people do. The only songs people have heard from Talib is just to get by. I'm not talking about you, Ron, but I'm talking about a lot of times
they were walking out, but they were walking out on that song though.
but
You
that's the only song they ever heard, and it's been 25 years. So they're saying, "Oh, well, he's not that dope." Well, you've never heard his music either, though. You know what I'm
and
saying?
and that's why he's not top 25. So Mad Max, I did this exercise with Leroy the other day. You might have been listening as well. Let's just keep it a buck. Can you keep it a buck? Let's play this game, Mad Max. Jay-Z,
Yeah,
is he
Talib's not better than Jay-Z. No,
Pac,
no,
Of course,
Rakim,
the
no,
top 10, no.
Biggie,
no,
Nas,
no,
Big Daddy Kane,
no,
Ice Cube,
No,
no,
Scarface,
no,
3 stacks.
After 10. Yes.
I
think he-
I'll take Talib over 3 stacks.
Okay, let's move on. Karis 1.
No,
Same with
LL.
no.
LL.
hell no.
Lil Wayne.
Yo, I lost my bed. Little Wayne, you said?
Yeah, yes, I said Lil Wayne.
No, I'm taking Talib over Little Wayne.
Oh,
Respectfully.
come on. I'll continue
Respectfully.
my list. Yeah.
Respectfully. Respectfully.
Respectfully,
Disrespectfully.
I think Lil Wayne is incredible. So I don't want to take nothing away from Lil Wayne. If I have to pick though, I'm gonna go with Talib only because I need to have some content that is going to sit well in my mind. And Lil Wayne, even though
But
he's
even if
talented, you know.
There's no universe in the world that anyone other than Leroy and Mad Max would say that Talib Kweli is a better MC or artist than Lil Wayne. There's no universe in the world.
well, Little Wayne has a little cult fan base, and he's a pop star. So of course, people are
I
not going to agree
guarantee you
with me and
nobody's
Leroy.
walking out of Lil Wayne shows. So anyway, let me continue my list.
People have walked out of Little Wayne shows before, Ron. Stop it.
Let me continue my list, please. Allow me to continue, please. 50 Cent, no. Jadakiss, please.
No.
Styles P.
I would
forgot about Styles. Damn. All right, Ron. All right, I'll give you that one.
I'm almost at 30 people, man. He's not better than 30.
I mean, the majority of them people are mostly gangster rappers, and I don't have a problem with that. But everybody wants to be tough, including the fans. The fans want to be tough, so they're not judging music; they're judging on who makes them feel tough.
No, but also, but Ron, Styles P and Talib is close. It's not like it's a crazy gap. That's debatable. That's very debatable. And I see somebody in the chat say something about Black Thought. Respectfully, I'm taking Talib with Black Thought. Respectfully. I like Black Thought is cool, but when he makes a quality album, we can talk. All right. He's never even made that by himself. So
we gotta do the episode, Mad Max and Leroy. We gotta do this episode when we do the tiers, the rankings. When we have like 4th tier, 3rd tier, and I think Talib Kweli is somewhere on the 3rd tier.
99% of you are basing your tiers on rap based on popularity and money. You're not basing it on music, and I know that. So when I base something on Talib Kweli, you automatically know my ranking doesn't have to do with fame and money. Your ranking does. 99% of you rank your MCs off fame and money, and you know it. Period.
All right. I kind of agree with Leroy on that, but I'll say this about Talib, right? Because I was listening to Talib. I was actually listening to him on Nas's birthday. For whatever reason, I just decided to put Talib on. I'm listening to the quality. I listened to the first 3 albums, and what sticks out to me, pause, about Talib is he's a very good beat picker. I like his beats that he picks. His voice is whack. I'm not gonna hold you. His voice is very weak, but he makes up. I think he's like a Tom Brady is type or a Drew Brees. He overcomes his limitations. So he has a weak voice, but I like his flow. He's a great lyricist. He's a great conceptualist. He has great content. He's if you're an anime watcher, he's like Rock Lee in Naruto.
I mean, Talib in his mixtape bag is also very good. His beat picking, which you mentioned for his albums, is also very good. Talib, I mean, his voice. I could see how people would say, okay, his voice is not the best, but his flow and all, like his just super rapping ability at times, it's very good. But he is saying something of substance. Now, people are gonna say, I've seen someone just say something about Talib versus Jay-Z. Do we have to really entertain that? But I mean, you have to know Talib's. If you do not know his catalog, please do not comment on Talib Kweli when you don't even know. That's first off. Second off, as far as this rap thing is concerned, if there are any bars aimed at Mickey Faxway, you can aim them at me, and I will respond to any rapper at any bars, at any invitation to battle or rap. Please try me. That's that. So we'll move on. But if anybody wants to try this class, it'll be certain death for you on contact. Promise you. The same day. The same day you make a track.
No
Moving.
doubt. No
Um.
doubt. No doubt.
What else? What else? There's something else I wanted to talk to y'all about because I think it was. It was. Oh, we gotta talk about Diddy in this thing because I don't like um how they're using Diddy to pretty much promote this slave narrative from the 1600s, this 1800s about black men being hypersexual degenerates who just want to rape your daughters and stuff. That's what they're low key doing with Diddy, and I've been peeping it because I don't remember them going this hard for any of them white cats that was
What what
doing the same things.
what
They
else would
needed.
they? The first movie to come out was based on that. It was based on uh, the slaves raping white women if they got free, the birth of a nation. So since then, everything has kind of been along them lines. The Diddy thing, yes, they're going to use that to parade around all the negative stereotyping of black people. But what else can they do? 100% of everything you've ever saw about black people, particularly black men in America, that's all been negative. You have not heard nothing positive unless it came from the person themselves outright doing something positive. But you've never heard no media, no news channel parade nothing positive about no black man ever. And if you have, just remind me of who that was, and we'll go from there.
Well, I understand that point. I just see a lot of like, I'll be on Twitter, and obviously I'm on Black Twitter because I'm not.
Right,
That's the community I'm a part of. So I just don't like when I see like I don't think other black people really grasp what when the industry decides to do this for a Diddy, a R. Kelly,
right.
a Michael Jackson,
It's a
whoever. It's really, but it's not even about those people because
right,
their legacies, it doesn't really matter. They're rich beyond measure. So they can send Diddy to an island and he's gonna have his money, he's gonna be good. But it's the rest of us that when we get falsely, this is why we get falsely accused, because you gotta think people view you a lot of times through the race
right,
of celebrities that represent you low key. That's how a lot of people in general view other races of people, right? When you watch Rush Hour 2 and then Chris Tucker is running through that stairway to get up to help Lee, and the Chinese lady, he bumps to the Chinese lady and she's like, "What? Get out, move out the way, Kobe." Right? that's how it is. So they use the celebrities to promote certain agendas, and if every day we seeing brothers who are having this, certain brothers, I'm not gonna say all of them, that just sexually depraved or whatever, and they're promoting that. What they're really saying is these N words over here. They're
right,
going to do this to your daughter, and
right.
blah blah blah. And I can't. And you see black people promoting it, like, oh, they making jokes out of it. It's like I get it too. I like the jokes. Some of the jokes is funny. I
Yeah,
can't front. Some of the
people
jokes is funny, but we gotta be responsible.
people are super praying that Jay Z go. They're like, please take Jay Z down. Like, I've never seen people so excited for the fall of Jay Z too.
I mean,
But
that's corny. That's corny talk.
um,
Like I don't like again. Like I don't. I really ain't really following the situation like that. But when I hear people bringing up other artists and other situations, I think that's kind of weak and corny.
they're like, there's
Anybody knew I wouldn't send my children. I've got 3 children. I wouldn't send them to Hollywood. I wouldn't send them. Want them to be part of this entertainment game if I didn't have some level of control with it. Because you hear all the stories. The stories are true. They've been going on since for decades, if not even more than a century.
I
So this is how the get down is. I've heard these stories for 15,
heard of Hugh Hefner.
10 years. Again, yeah, you're right. So there's always been examples of these type of situations. You talking about those type of parties. What do you think the Playboy Mansion was? And I'm not, trying to make no equivalency. I don't
But
know about nothing. I don't know. I don't know the information. I don't know what's true, what's not true. All I know is that we just got to be cognizant of how we move out here. Be
I can
smart.
I can promise you that black people, every race has has a Diddy class. I can promise you that every race of people, they all engage in the same debauchery at a certain level. It's not just rich black people. I can promise you that.
It's
It's
definitely
just
not just rich
it's
black
just that
people.
we bring the attention because we're so entertaining and because it makes money. It makes money for America for us to be the spotlight of this. But I can promise you that all the races have people that engage in this type of stuff. It's not, we know that it's not just us. The media is going to spin it as it's just us. Just the same thing as the gangsters, right? We're the only race that has gangsters, according to the media. But
Yeah, that
we know in the real world there is a gangster class among every race has a gangster class. It's not just our people.
yeah,
So
that's true.
it's just what we got to deal with. Like, but being that we know that though, I think we should act a little bit different. Now, I can't stop the kind of things that goes on. Like, I can't snap my fingers and just stop a situation like what goes on with Diddy or other people. But I think the people that are aware of their surroundings and aware of what they're doing, I think they should move better, move accordingly, so that way you don't end up in a situation like Diddy. So it is what it is. You know, but all the this is universal, especially in Hollywood and all that. But like Ron was saying, it's important when you go into a Hollywood in the music industry, take people that been with you. You don't have to go into it alone. Like, the people that you grew up with, they may not be the best people for the industry, right? Because we know that the people we grew up with don't know everything about the business. They don't know. But in order to keep you safe, though, especially if you're a female, move with that crew that you moved with before you got famous to keep you safe for a reason and to keep it real with you. Like,
Right. It's
No,
just
I
too.
agree. I agree with that.
It's just, man. You just gotta be careful how you move out here. How your energy that you put out. You just want to make sure that you're moving in the right space. Be at a high vibrational level. I know that sounds kind of esoteric and spiritual in nature, but it is that way, man. You got to make sure your spirit is aligned with good. And not to say you still won't, things won't, come harm won't come your way, obstacles won't come your way, but you still got to navigate through those. And a lot of these things, you laughing and you yucking it up and you dancing, you popping bottles, you think it's all good, and
right.
then they pull your card and they when they make those plays, it ain't all good. Ain't nobody dancing and ain't nobody laughing. You not on on the late night shows. You're not on the daytime talk shows, and
Right.
it's
I
just like,
mean,
yeah, it's
the
over.
future generation, the kids that grew up thinking they're going to be like Future, I can promise you 99.9% of you will not make it being like Future. If you think that you're going to be high as a kite and doing multi-million-dollar business, I can promise you that that's probably not going to happen.
Actually, speaking of Future, let me, because I heard y'all convo on Future before. I think Future want to. Well, Future's not high because he said that he doesn't do drugs. He just promotes it. So that's another thing to speak on his character. I'm not gonna get into that. That just speaks on his character. But his mixtape was whack, and I don't think he has 10 years to keep doing that music. I give him about 5. Really, I give him about whenever there's another artist who can, make up a storm to
Right.
be lit. Because as soon as that person comes along, Future's essentially cooked because he dropped 3 projects. The only one that made noise was the one where he had Kendrick on there dissing Drake, and he was dissing Drake, and that was the first one where we heard about him dissing Drake. He tried to double back with the Drake diss album.
Right.
That came and went, and then he dropped this mixtape. Uh, I heard it. I didn't like damn near any song on there. I'm be honest with you. I didn't. I gotta listen to it again. I didn't care for none of that. I'm tired of the. I love Future. I used to hate him then
Right.
around like 2013, 20 well 2015,
You got it.
that age, that time. I kind of understood what he was, and I started liking his stuff. But you know,
but it's like
he's shot. He's shot.
his music is not all about the music though. It's like if you think of gin and juice, you think of certain artists. If you think of Kush and orange juice, you think of a certain artist. When these kids think of like Molly and Perks and all that, this is where Future presents. This is where Future pops up in their mind. So it's not the music that they're gravitating to. It's the experience. It's the experience of the first time they get really high, and then Future becomes the soundtrack to that in my
Yeah,
mind.
he does, but I mean but Molly's kind of old now. I don't see people really popping Molly
And
no more.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
But
Whatever they're
no,
doing now, well, if he doesn't do drugs, it's a problem because on every song on this project, you are high as a kite. He has one song, "I woke up higher than Jesus." Like that's
yeah, that was
pretty.
that's a blasphemous line right
That's
there. I don't know
pretty
why he thought to
high.
say that, but
Now, again, if your personal choices, hey, I can't stop you from doing whatever it is you're doing, but to constantly say that in the music, there is kids that's gonna follow that, unfortunately. So again, and I know I'm not saying he's not gonna stop for me, but what I am saying is the reason why I said that could go on for another generation is because it's not him that's carrying it. The drug itself is gonna carry his music as the soundtrack for it.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. But I'd also think, to be honest with you, because I work with a lot of like younger cats, because I work at a hospital, so a lot of them work there too, because they going to try and
Right,
be nurses and stuff. So I work with them, and they put me on to what they like and stuff. But I don't think they do love Future. I'll give you that. They do love Future, but I don't see. I'm
yeah,
gonna be honest with you. I don't see them. I don't see the generation or the kids younger than them really rocking with Future, because those kids, they're really mostly into video games. To be honest with you, Future's already been replaced. He's just running on like meritus status. He's been here for so long. He has a name, and he's known for what you're saying, the lit stuff. So
right,
he's still relatively popping for that, but he's already been replaced. Like Gunna and Playboy Cardi are more popping than
right.
Future right now. No,
But
like that's just a
they're
fact.
basically future. They're basically future, though. They're just future, the diet version of future. And I'm not saying that he has to be Nas, y'all. I'm saying whatever future does in reality, whatever his real life is, why don't you just rap about that instead of the now? Now, if what you're saying is actually your real life, I don't know how you're surviving. But if you make it work, you make it work. But if that's not your real life, why not just rap about your real life? I've been saying this. Like people will be like, "Well, what can I rap about?" Why not rap about reality? That's all
Yo,
I'm
yo,
saying.
yo, yo. We had a good show tonight. I want to make sure we end on a positive note. So, Mad Max, what's your final thoughts when we get out of here? I've been on the road, man. I do this for the love of recording hip hop. I do this for the love of hip hop and a love of our family that we build here. I'm dog tired. I've driven 6 hours today, and
Woo.
I got some food upstairs. I'm not trying to be on the couch tonight, so I need to.
Yeah,
We're gonna wrap up on a strong note.
yeah.
And so, Mad Max, what's your final thoughts tonight, brother?
My final thoughts are hip hop's in a bad state, and it's in a bad state because the newer generation has not done what they were supposed to do, which is replace the golden era of hip hop, which is the 90s. This is why Jay-Z's allowed to pick who he wants for the Super Bowl. This is why Snoop Dogg is the mascot of the Olympics. You can't complain about your quote unquote era not getting the respect from the old heads, and you ain't put out the quality that dumb cats has put out. Respectfully, that's my take. You want to be respected, you got to take spots. You don't get a gifted spots. All right, we don't do hand me downs over here. You gotta take crowns. That's what we do over here. We don't get crowns passed down to us. This is not Game of Thrones. This is not you know some type of medieval dynasty where the prince can become the king. You want to become the king, you got to take the crown. So young generation, you want that respect, you better get it. You gotta earn it.
No doubt, no doubt. Mad Max, we appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tapping in as always. Leroy, man, what's your final thoughts tonight, brother?
I think that tap in. I'm not going to give hope, give up hope on this generation. I know that some of you out there are students of the game. You're good at what you do or great at what you do. Again, this is like the blog era. This is the pod era. Tap in. What is your music? Leave your name and what you do in the comments. Like, tap in, because if it's about pushing the culture forward, we need to see it happen. But I do think that we're at a let the party die or not, and we're at a crossroads. What is going to be? We could either go down a lane that Kendrick is going down, or we could go down a lane that Drake and Future is going down. It's up to y'all. I don't care whatever you lane go down. I'm grown already. But whatever the future is for the youth, and y'all want to go down that lane, you got to make a decision. And then hopefully it's for your best interest, so you could wind up like an MC Lyte, someone who still has their life intact and didn't let the game destroy them. You know what I mean? But we'll see,
You know what's funny? When it rains, it pours. They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Said it ain't no hope for the youth. And the truth is, it ain't no hope for the future. And they wonder why we crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if there's any hope, like Pac said, for the future, man. I hope, I got young seeds, man. So I'm hopeful that there is hope. But what I'm seeing right now, if I'm just being my objective, analytical self, I don't see no hope. That's what Pac said, man. So anyway, not to end on such a sour note.
Hope. I believe in y'all. I believe in this generation of hip hop. I think y'all gonna turn it around, and you're gonna make some legendary music and do it in the right way. I'm holding out hope for y'all. Real talk.
Hey, I'm holding out hope, man. But we're gonna see, man. But anyway, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you tap in with us, man. This is Leroy Green. That is Mad Max. I am Ron. We appreciate you tapping in with us. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share with a friend. We're trying to get to 25,000 to 100,000. I've already talked to some big people. Once we get to 100,000, we can get the money for the festival, the first annual According to Hip Hop Festival. But we got to get to 100,000. So hopefully we'll make some more quality shows and some podcasts. So we want to continue tapping in with you so we can get to the 100,000 mark so we can do the big festival. So anyway, hit like and subscribe. As always, I'm Ron. That's Leroy Green, According to Hip Hop. We appreciate you, man. Peace.
Till next time. Peace. 1.